Hey. This is a good night. I had one of my favorites on the show tonight, Miss Ivana Miles. But I'm the musty man, and I got Toya Capri, my sidekick. We just like having fun and talking about success stories and stuff like that. And we want to thank the Club 717, the Blue Note, and Angelino Law Firm. Y'all give them a call. You're undefeated so far, 630-688-7511, 630-688-7511. And if you got any questions for us, anytime during the show, call at 708-223-8953, 708-223-8953. What's happening in the town, Miss Toya? What's happening?
So a lot of interesting things going on this week. Let's start with the playoffs.
Ooh,
I know this is a favorite subject of yours.
Yeah, but one of my teams lost, man. And I'm upset that they did not play Javon Carter. He helped them get to the league. He's 60153.
Yes.
Yeah. And then they didn't play him the last two games, and Jimmy Butler scored 98 points.
Wow.
That's tough, man.
Yeah, it is.
So, but yeah, the Lakers on the edge. New York Knicks, they clinched. Kevin Garnett and the Phoenix Suns, they clinched. And we got a couple other, I can't remember the other team that's on the edge.
I am not the one.
It's another 3-2 team.
I just have a good time when
we'll figure that out.
The
games are crazy. The games are crazy.
Yeah.
What about that comment that Phil Jackson made?
Ooh. Well, Phil is that they used to call him the guru. So he won 11 NBA championships, and he said that him and his grandkids kind of laughed at when they were in the bubble and they were doing the political things. He don't watch the games anymore because they became political, because they were talking about Black Lives Matter and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was kind of insulting to the people. So thanks, Shannon, for 2 championships, but Phil, that was kind of musty.
Okay.
That was musty.
That was
you the musty man.
That was musty what you did. So that's how I feel.
What about the Whitney Houston movie? I don't know if you guys got a chance to catch it on Netflix.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a really good movie.
Which one?
The one that kind of explicitly laid out that, at the start of her career, she was actually seeing, I think it was Robin.
Yes.
They were in a committed relationship. The other movies kind of implied it, but this one was just like straight to the point. This is what it was, and
told the truth.
Was that Dance with My Father? Was that same one, or was this someone different?
No, this is the one that was recently at the movies.
Oh,
and
okay.
Netflix picked it up.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And the girl did a pretty good job playing, Whitney Houston, but the depiction and the character, the way they portrayed it, it was the girl Robin. Okay, she got to fight the daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Then when Whitney Houston got married, she had to fight Bobby.
She did.
So Robin was like, she was mad at everybody.
Right. She was trying to be with Whitney.
You know what I'm saying? She was mad at everybody. But,
yeah.
That's how it goes sometimes. And hey, so long her story.
But I know for sure for me, I've always had an admiration for Whitney.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that hearing that story from that angle, you have to wonder like what internal struggles she had. She knew she had the voice, that goes without saying. She was talented, but during that time, mid 80s, 90s, early 2000s, it was more acceptable as we progressed, but in that era, it was just not, it wouldn't have been well received, being quite frank about it. Mm-hmm. So you can imagine the kind of internal battles she was facing with trying to just simply be herself, but she also wanted the stardom. So
what you think?
That's true. I think that has everything to do with it, because from where I saw her talent was there. You cannot even debate that, right? Her drive was there, but she came from a background that was just normal. She came from the hood. Let's just be real. She was real people.
Yeah.
But she had a gift. and she had a talent, and her mother was aiming her, and her father was like really shaping her.
Right.
And then I think at the end of the day, when it came around to as she arrived, it just was like, you know what, I'm Whitney now.
Right.
You know, I really am just ready just to live my life.
Right.
You know, and we start seeing so many other things uncover themselves with her. You
I
know,
agree.
And I see a lot of what was going on with her is that she was not in control.
This is true.
Facts.
Her father was in control.
Yes.
Robin was in control.
Yes.
And Bobby was in control.
Yes.
And everybody was in control.
Of
And she
her.
was looking at them out the side of her eye, like,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and I'm gonna have my life.
Exactly.
And I think when she
Clive was in
decided
control,
to,
too. Yeah.
she
Yeah,
went to
Clive.
the
Mhm.
drug game.
It's
Yeah.
true.
And
It's
that's
true.
when this is where I am. This is where, because y'all doing that over there.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do
She
this.
needed an
Mhm.
She
escape.
needed
She needed
escape.
escape.
She was that was her piece
Yeah.
Mhm.
in so many words. But that's so interesting. That's an interesting movie.
It is.
What
It
about
is.
Whitney a bad girl too.
Oh my
Man,
God.
she did some things that definitely inspired me for sure.
Yes.
You know, she did.
That voice is just unmatched.
Every day. It totally, even to this day.
Her
Unmatched.
mama
Like-
was a bad girl.
Yes, she was. And she-
Dionne Warwick, her auntie, was
Yes.
a bad girl.
yes.
I would
And they
agree.
were aiming her. That
They
was the
were.
thing. They were
Yeah.
aiming her.
They sure
You know,
were.
because they saw it in her too.
Yes.
Right.
You know?
Yes. And the other thing is the Air movie. I didn't get a chance to see it, but
Yeah.
I'm sure Chris, you'll fill us in. Mr.
Well-
Mr. Retiree.
Yeah. I have nothing else to do.
I know.
That can keep us up to
You-
date with the
Keep us up to
movies,
date.
right?
Yeah. And the Air movie was a pretty good movie. It was about Sonny Vaccaro and a brand that he tried to that he built, not pretty much tried to, that he built the Jordan brand. And I pretty much was interested in the movie. It really wasn't about Jordan, it was about his brand.
Mhm.
But Jordan said if anybody played the part of my mother, he wanted
Viola Davis.
Viola
Yeah.
Davis to play the part.
Oh yeah.
And she played the hell out that part.
Yeah.
She told him, she said, if my son gonna sign this contract with Nike, I gotta have the images, his rights. And then I was like, go ahead, black girl.
I
We
know that's
need
right.
that. We need that.
Facts.
And it was very supportive. You know, she was very supportive of her son, and she knew the business angle.
Good.
She knew how to deal with that. And that might have came from his agent, Rich Falk, which took Jordan to a level where he bought all of his
rights to
his
everything.
rights and
yeah.
everything. So, you know, his likenesses, images and stuff. It's a business game.
It's the business. You said it though. You know, so many people get like caught up in the talent,
Yes.
but they miss that business piece.
Right.
So when you have somebody that can shape that business and that talent,
Right.
oh, that's a winning ball
Yeah,
game right there.
that's it.
Absolutely.
Well, he's just worth 1.3 billion right
Just.
now.
Just, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's one of the top black families in the world. I was looking at that today, man.
Bless you.
So we have fun.
And then lastly, on a more somber note, we had a few deaths this week, between this week and last week, that were pretty surprising.
Tough.
So we want to just take a moment of silence for four individuals who passed. Everett Coleman, known as Wamo. We all know Everett.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Was
My man.
hilarious.
Absolutely.
You could not be in his presence and not feel
Not laugh. Yeah.
just overwhelmingly
Joy.
energized because of his energy, as well as Mrs. Betts. She was a longtime educator
District
in the
89.
District 89
That
school
was my
district.
second mother.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
I've talked to so many people that had the opportunity to directly be in her company.
She was
I
a
was-
boss dresser, man.
I
Oh
heard.
my God.
I
She
was
be
talking about her
clean,
husband.
Teaching them kids, yeah.
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 But together, I'm sure they made a dynamic duo. But
Yeah.
want to say rest in peace to her as well. And then we have Darius Blackledge.
Blackledge, yeah.
Blackledge. Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, Darius
young
Blackledge.
man.
That was my man, young kid. He was doing his thing, having fun, enjoying life.
Yeah,
Mm.
just very sorry to hear that. And
Definitely.
and Charles Fisher. Charles passed a few weeks back, but all very strong connection or ties to Maywood, Bellwood areas. So want to just have a moment of silence for the individuals that I mentioned.
God bless you. Yeah,
Yes,
that
for sure.
was good. See, I just left Club 717. They had a balloon release for Whammo, so
Yeah.
it was real nice, and a lot of people showed up, and very respectful, and it was just a good thing. But Whammo was a good friend of mine. Just a little side thing. Whammo came to me one day. He said, "Man, I ain't never been to a Bulls game," and I looked at him like, "Boy, shut up! All the resources you got. How you gonna tell me you that?" He said, "CB, I'm serious."
Mm-hmm.
So he said, "Man, get me to a Bulls game." So I was able to make some calls and got him to the Bulls game. And then we used to always joke because we see each other all the time. We have a little club. We eat on Mondays at the 717 or whatever the case might be. And one day he was in there just cracking jokes like he always do. He's just a pleasure to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And he was cracking jokes and he said, "Man, I'm going to get me an airplane." I said, "Boy, you ain't going to get no airplane." I said, "If you get an airplane, I'm going to get you an airplane cap." So lo and behold, when Larry James had Trend for Men, he used to have Ground Effects down the street.
Mm-hmm.
He had an airplane hat that I kind of liked, and I had bought it some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that Friday when I seen Whammo, I took it in there. I said, "Here, boy, here go that hat. You go get on that plane." And lo and behold, I didn't know he was going to get his wings and take that flight.
Wow.
And that was he's personal to me.
Yes.
And, he got his wings, took that flight. I'm on my way to airport Saturday morning. I get a call from Tim.
Yeah.
Tim Toin and shout out to Tim Toin. Tim Noel, he keep me
knows
posted.
everybody.
Yeah,
Okay.
he keep me posted. And man, I had a bad morning. I missed my flight. Left my phone in the Uber.
Oh wow.
It was like, CB, what else could go wrong?
Right.
But we still here to tell the story. Salute to Charlie Fisher and Darius Blackledge and Miss Betts and Whammo.
Yeah,
my people.
for sure.
Now, here's the good part. Miss Ivana Miles is here, and
I'm here.
she's the owner of Ivana Miles LLC, CEO of Ivana Miles Hair Studio, the spicy wife in marriage with Miles. Man, this
tagline.
wait till she get into
about that. Oh my
her
gosh.
stuff. And I'm gonna let her tell a story. I'm gonna sneak in with me and my co-host gonna sneak in and ask a few questions.
For sure.
But she is a follower of Jesus.
Yeah.
And 28 years of marriage with 2 kids.
Awesome.
And I like this part. And currently a resident of Illinois. That means you got a plan on.
You already know.
See, there we go. Hey, ladies and
It
gentlemen,
is a plan.
my friend, Ivana Miles. And look, that smile is radiant. You'll get. Hey, tell us. Let's start off with who inspired you, and what inspired you to do what you do.
Well, my inspiration came from a kid. I'm definitely 60153, 21 blocks all day long, 10th and Madison.
There you go.
I'm just saying.
There you go. That's it.
But it started with my family.
Okay.
Started with my dad. He was always an entrepreneur in business and ran many things. My uncles, my aunties, just a host of family that I was raised as a little kid to know that entrepreneurship is something that we should strive for.
Yeah.
And ownership, it's really about being able to, my grandmother used to say this all the time, if you take care of that land will take care of you.
Yes.
And that was a significant for purchase property early.
There you
Yeah.
go.
And if you take care of that land will take care of you.
Okay.
So that was a part
That's
of
wisdom.
what was embedded in me,
Mhm.
And then along the way, the journey of my mom, she again cultivated me. And then, as you talked about Miss Betts,
Oh yeah.
Miss Betts, she was definitely significant in my life. I went to St. Paul Lutheran School, and
Right.
Sana and I was in school,
Okay.
together. So Miss Betts was not only a person who was a pillar in the community, but she raised us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She made
Yeah.
sure everybody was together.
Mhm.
So I think it was having these multitude of spiritual giants around me
Mhm.
as I was young. It just aimed me to always say life was bigger than the 21 blocks. It's great where you come from, but don't ever stop shooting for the stars.
There you
Right.
go.
And, along the way, those were the things that inspired me. And so 19 years old, I started my first business.
Ooh-wee. Okay.
First business, I had my first salon right there on 10th and Madison, where I grew up. Now it's the laundromat sit over there, but I think it's like BB's Nails or something. That was my place.
That
Let
was
me
your
tell
spot.
you. That was my spot. Simplicity Hair and Nails design. Okay.
Numero uno
Numero
business.
uno. Put me on the map.
There
You
you
know,
go.
I was 19 years old. And at that time, I had gotten married, and we started to have our first child, you know, so we were young when we first got started. And so now I'm this entrepreneur, I'm this wife, I'm this mom, I'm taking all these things in and really just trying to learn how to evolve into life, because you're in your early 20s. And then from there, it started with going into business management. And then I just kept going up the chain. I didn't stop, Chris.
Yeah,
you know?
well, I could
I didn't
imagine, but see, tell us how you started the hair game. How did you get into the hair game?
So I started, I was that person who, you know, we had a basketball rim in our backyard. So I'm about that balling life. Okay.
Oh,
I'm running that
Jesus.
point guard,
Oh,
baby.
Jesus. Y'all here? Y'all here?
So we, you know, we play basketball like at our house, you know, and then as a kid, I would braid people hair. They would pay me, and I was little. I was like 5, 7, had this gift in my hands. And so at the time when I was young, I used to suck my thumb, but there was something about touching the hair with my fingers. I didn't even know it was a gift then, but it was something about the fabric, and it would touch my hand. And so I would braid. And so at that time, I would braid and they would give me candy.
The books say, let your gift speak for you.
Come on, it'll make room for you.
Well,
You see that? Come on.
I'm just saying.
And so I would braid hair and do people hair, and they would pay me. They would pay me with, you know, small amount of money. Then relatives would start paying me to do other, you know, relatives' hair. And so then I started realizing that I was enjoying something. Now, this is in the late 80s, early 90s, right? So at that time, we were exposed to, let's just say, you know, in order for you to make money, you had to figure out some kind of legal way to do it, right?
You
So
go.
what you put down.
you pick it up when I put it down.
Yeah,
You know, and so I
feel you.
got an opportunity to be exposed to a hairstylist. And my mom used to take me to get my hair done. And this stylist was on the south side of Chicago. She worked 4 days a week, and she was like bringing in $1,000 a day.
Ooh-wee.
And I was, you know, that's impressive being young.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
oh,
saying?
yeah.
Because, you know, I'm looking around like, you mean tell me this legal money?
Right.
I need to figure this out, you know?
Yeah.
And so I went to school. I went to high school. I was in the Proviso community, went to high school. And when I went to high school, I went to cosmetology school at the same time. They used to have a workers program.
Really?
I remember.
And they would say, hey, if you get out of school early, you know, you can go and work. So I started at Try Me right there on 21st in St.
Wow.
Charles. You know?
Jackson, Reverend Jackson.
He gave me my first job in this
That's great.
industry. You know, and I came in and I'm shampooing hair, you know, going to high school, shampoo hair in the middle of the day, and then I leave and go in the evening. I would go to Pivot Point and I would drive up on the north side. And this was like striving me because I was young, inexperienced, but I saw that there was something that was greater from it.
Yeah.
That began my journey. So from there, I finished school, came out of high school early, graduated at the first semester of my senior year. And then I decided to flip over into cosmetology school full time now.
Okay.
So I graduated from cosmetology school early. So everybody like, man, you're doing a lot of things early. But that was because of what I was exposed to. So now at this point, I'm working in the community. I'm figuring out some things. And now I'm ready to open up a business.
Okay.
So that's 19. I opened up my business. I'm exposed to it. But the thing of it was, I didn't know leadership. I knew skill set.
Yeah.
I knew how to be able to bring the clients in. I knew how to get in front of people. I knew I had a gift, but I didn't know leadership. Okay. So now if you're the youngest person on the total pole, I don't care if you own the place, you know everybody want to punk you.
Well, I got to ask you this. You playing basketball against Aaron Wade and Denard Wade.
That's it.
Did they make you a leader?
They
tried
sure
to punk
did.
you.
They did. Oh, but listen.
Go
they
ahead.
the ones taught me how to post up.
There
You understand?
you
You know, you got to post up.
And
It'd be plenty.
So, and then that takes you into your leadership.
Absolutely.
Now, how did you find that?
So what started to happen was I started surrounding myself with other great leaders. In order to be a leader, you got to first learn how to serve.
There you go.
And so I learned how to sit down to serve. And I listened. See, a lot of times people today, when I talk to them, they don't want to listen. But I've always yielded myself to wisdom. And it was always in me where they said that, if they were older than you, just listen to their experience. Chew up the meat, spit out the bones. And so that took me into leadership. And what I started doing was I started getting tasked. And it was a lady that really impacted my life. Her name is Patricia. And Pat, she owned a salon that was in Oak Park.
Okay.
And Pat, at this time, she taught me how to lean into my faith. She taught me how to be a great leader. She taught me how to serve my people, to listen to them, but then also to celebrate them and celebrate their wins.
What were some of the things she said to you?
Oh, that was good. One of the things was, just remember, you won't be where you are today always. A lot of times when you're young, you have this ambition to go. And so I had to start to say, and especially now, even saying now, what would I tell my younger self? It's going to be all right.
Okay.
You're going to make it there. So one of the things that she would say specifically to me would be, live where you are today and stay where you are today and own that area. Don't try to go faster. Don't go slower. Just be where you are and learn how to be. Be present. And I think that what I took from that was, because at first, of course, you're trying to be. You're trying to just be instead of becoming. So it taught me to be able to become.
Okay.
And as I was becoming, I actually started leaning on becoming that leader that was always inside of me. So again, being a point guard, one thing about being a point guard is you always got to watch the floor, but you got to keep momentum going. So you got to have the ability to watch the floor. You got to listen to your coach, but you got to also be in the moment to know when you got to run your play.
I see where you're going.
You see what I'm saying? So all of those skill sets were a part of developing me. So in that leadership role, when I started understanding how to be, I started understanding I could watch how my clients flow. I could start leaning into who I was. I could use my voice, but yet at the same time, she was a great leader. So I need to listen to the coach. So with those skill sets all coming together, that's how you start creating the plays. Nobody wins by themselves. Sometimes you take the shot and sometimes you got to assist.
You got to pass the ball.
Got to pass the ball. So those things were the things that helped develop me. And I was able to take that past, then my present where she was, and then I was able to put it into my current situation.
Okay. Now, this is very interesting that you say this, because that's the hard part. Where was the struggles? Where were the struggles to get you into the field of hair and that whole game? And what were your struggles? What were some of your struggles?
Let's start at the top. I had a list of them.
Okay.
So one of my struggles was I had to learn how to manage, right? I had to manage all of this that was happening. The struggle was, I'm successful as bringing in my clients, but I wasn't successful at being a business owner.
Okay.
That is inventory. That is learning how to be there for your team, being a wife, being a mom, being able to know how to manage your finances, but then invest your finances, save your finances. Because, of course, you're trying to move forward. Those were struggles.
Yes.
They were struggles.
Yes.
It was struggles because even though I was young and I was matured and I had it, the people that were my age wasn't doing what I was doing.
Right.
So now the struggle was you sitting at the table being this young voice making impact, but people really haven't learned how to trust you.
No.
Okay.
And so now you have to keep showing up and keep being your authentic self, that eventually longevity. Listen, if it's fake, it ain't gonna last. It's just not gonna last.
Yes.
So the struggle was, like
Proving yourself.
proving myself,
Mhm.
proving that I belong where I
Mhm.
am, and I'm okay with owning this space as well.
Yeah. Your dad, Murphy Wade, he just didn't settle for anything somebody told him.
That part.
He just like he gonna test it.
Yeah.
He gonna see if y'all for real about what you're talking about. And I see that's a little bit in you.
Oh no, it's a lot of bit of me. It's a lot of bit of me.
Okay.
Okay, it's a lot of bit of me.
And so now you go, you got an LLC
Yeah.
for the hair studio, and is the hair studio is where you go and you teach across the country.
Yeah.
Tell us
So
about that experience.
that's good. So the LLC started actually a few years back, because again, one of the struggles was I didn't know how to do the business the right way. Right. I was like everybody else, I'm doing the business, but I didn't know how to set the business up the right way. Right. So then once I realized how to set the business up the right way, I realized that by you having this company, you have to put these tiers up under this company. So that became me being an educator. That became me owning the salon studio, actually where the people come, where I can teach them, bring them up. That became the extra legs, and it became a living thing.
Yeah.
Right. And so I got an opportunity. Now, let me back up the story a little bit. My husband and I had a motorcycle accident.
Oh, wow.
Struggle.
Yeah.
Right. Motorcycle accident. Now I'm got my salon. I think that I got all these things together, and we decide to go out one day to have some fun. And I'm on the back, and we get hit by a truck.
Oh my God.
Okay. So now I'm flying over the handlebars. He's pushing me back this way, right? You got to do everything in this moment. I hit the ground, and now I'm injured. So when I get injured, now, of course, they're taking us to Loyola through, he's going to one hospital, I'm in the other. And my arm on the right side was numb.
Oh, my God.
Now, me being me, that's that money arm, baby. Listen, that money arm started talking to me. I was like, oh, God, please, Lord, let this be good,
There we
right?
go.
But there are times in our life that we have to have a disruption. And when that disruption happened that was unexpected for me, it catapulted me to my next, which the next was I had to think, right? When I came out of that and I'm healed and everything's going well now, but we laid up, right? Because we sore, we bruised up. What can you do if you cannot do hair?
Right.
And now I got the salon, but I got the business, but it's not producing if I'm not in there. Right. That's how I became a teacher.
Okay.
So that led me down salon management, and that led me down becoming a teacher.
Okay. So how many cities and how many different countries or wherever you've been?
Oh my gosh.
So
You're going to make me count them.
Yeah. We need to
I can't
know,
keep up
because
anymore.
see, these are success stories.
Yeah.
And our kids need to hear this.
Yeah.
They need to hear that young men and women can make it.
Yes.
I had Trevor Black on here from Felonies to Franchises. I had Deborah Vines on here. She's been to prison. And so, they need to know.
They got to know.
And
you
they
have to know.
So,
you have to know.
I mean,
so when I started on the education side, what I started doing first, actually the very first person, I started at Dudley's. I taught at Dudley's. I taught at Pivot Point. But it was PhD. What was his name? Lester. Remember Lester?
Yeah.
Lester came to a class at Dudley's, and he saw me. He knew me from the area. Okay. And he was just like, you teaching? That's how we do, right? That's 60152. You teach? I say, I'm teaching. He said, I want you to come over into my salon barbershop, and I want you to teach. And he gave me my first opportunity to be independent. And I taught in the community first.
Okay.
And from there, I was like, man, now it was different because I had been making money doing hair. I had been making money owning the salon. But now teaching money was different because that was a different kind of money, right? So now here it is.
Especially if you get called, right?
That part.
If
right?
somebody call you,
that
like,
part.
Hey, girl, then I can set my own price.
That part. Okay. So then that's when I said, wow. Right. You mean tell me I can make this in an hour?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm doing something wrong. Right. I need to keep doing more of this. So that opened up the gate for me. Okay. So from there, once I finished teaching there, I started going to trade shows. I started traveling. I started doing Bronner Brothers show. I started doing the what used to be called the Midwest show back then. Now they call it American Beauty Show or something like that here in Chicago. And then I started doing other trade shows, like traveling and going.
Well, did you ever go do the one in Vegas?
I did do the one in Vegas as well. So what now this is giving me a bigger platform because now I'm actually getting a classroom. And I remember walking around and it's very different when nobody knows you from that city, you know. So you gotta put yourself out there, really, right? So I remember it, and I had a friend of mine, Java, she started traveling. Java, good one, baby. That's my girl. That's
one of
my
my friend's daughters. Yes. Dennis Johnson. Yes, sir.
Yes. And we would go out, and I'm like, you know, and it's the reason that I think that she was always the calm before the storm, because it's nothing like your grassroots, right? Because I'm out here in a new arena, and I'm like, girl, how these people gonna come? Like, what they gonna? She was like, first of all, you got this. I said,
that's us.
Right?
That
you got this. And so she would give me that encouragement. And so we would just hit the pavement in the floor. And let me just say, and we would pray. We would pray that God will put the right people in the right place that was supposed to come to hear what I was supposed to deliver.
Connect the spirits.
Oh my gosh. Come on now.
Yeah.
CB, the doors would start swinging and people would come, and they would come from all over. And so now it's starting to like wow me a little bit, you know, because I'm going like, man, you know, they really coming. So one thing led to another. Then from there, I produced my hair product line.
Okay.
So when I produced my hair product line, I said, well, you know what? When I produce this hair product line, I'm going to have a booth. I'm going to be on the floor. You know, it's always goals, right? I'm going to be on the floor. I'm going to have a tray. I'm going to do the whole booth. I'm going to do this. So I did. I did that. And once I started doing those things, it started becoming reality that my world was shifting. More impact was happening. And then at this point, so now we're leading up to 2020. And as we get into 2020, now I'm getting ready to hit the Black Women's Expo here in Chicago.
Okay.
And the shutdown happened.
Oh, wow.
Another pivotal pandemic.
Scamdemic. That's what I call it. The scamdemic.
I'm almost not mad at it though, because if you did right in the pandemic, there's opportunity, because that's how Marriage with the Miles came. That's how Spicy Wife came. It came because we had to sit. And if I can't do hair again, remember I said I was teaching.
Right.
Okay. So at this time, I had 2 salons. I had a salon at home and I had a salon at the mall in Bolingbrook. Both salons, I can't work because you can't be within 6 feet. Right. So I don't even know how to handle this, because I've been doing this since, 5-7 years old. So now I can't work. I got 2 salons. I got a hair product line that I'm selling out a product, but all of my chemists and my manufacturers are overseas and they shut down the borders. Wow. So now I can't even get that anymore. Struggle. All of my speaking engagements, as I talked about, platforms around the world, they have been shut down. So all 3 income sources are shut down. And what are we told? Have multiple income streams, but they were all in the same industry. Okay. So the industry, flatline. So now I'm sitting around and I'm like, oh God, what am I going to do? What do I have left? Right. And so at this point, I used to walk around my subdivision. And as I was walking around my subdivision, praying and asking God, he said, but what you do have is your voice. And your voice is the same voice that was on those other stages, that now you need is your camera.
708-223-8953. Y'all hear the story.
That's it.
Call us in.
Come on with it. And with that being said, that's how this other platform, because the whole time, and it was one of my girlfriends, she said, listen, you've been married as long as you've been doing hair. And it dawned on me how many stories I have been listening to behind the chair.
Right.
Yeah. How many brokenness from women sharing, coming in, my man want my hair like this, but I don't want my hair like that. Wow. What do I do? Right. Or I'm going through a divorce, so cut it all off. Right. And I'm thinking like, sis, but when you wake up, you gonna be mad. Or they go from one extreme to another. They want this hair color. Yeah. It will be something. So I began to take the time now to start looking at what I didn't have, but look at what I do have.
Yeah, that's interesting, because that movie Beauty Shop with Queen Latifah.
Yeah. She got
And-
my coins. You're not gonna wrote that. I'm just kidding.
Listen, no, I don't think you
have.
can. I think you can. But what I'm saying is that you sit in that chair and you hear personal
Deep.
stories of people, and that got to be something else because,
Be heavy.
man,
It's
sometimes
imagine.
people don't know exactly that they're telling a story,
Yeah.
but you can hear it.
I hear it.
And that
I
experience.
hear it.
Yeah.
And I hear, see, I could feel it on me now when
Yeah.
you said it, because not only do I hear it, but you have to be a person that God knows that they can trust you.
Yeah.
He could trust you with it
Yeah.
because you hear some of the most intimate. I probably know where all the bones are buried in Maywood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
I can
There you go.
Right?
There you
Because you when the woman get in a chair, she got to talk to somebody, and she release and she unveils. Listen, the hair come off, them lashes come off, that makeup
Ooh-wee.
come off. You know what I'm saying?
Then you
The
find
authentic, it's the real deal.
The robot ain't there no more.
It ain't there. and when that come off, then that whole other mask come off.
Yeah.
And the mask of what she's been carrying,
Yes.
how she been feeling, what she's been going through, and who does she talk to? And the reason she unloads to the stylist is because we don't know none of the people involved anyway.
Nope.
Right.
So all you have to do is create the environment.
Right.
And what did God say? You build it, they gonna come.
There
Yeah.
you go.
So that's
She
it.
trusts you. She trusts you with her hair. She gonna trust you with her conversation.
Listen,
Because everybody don't let everybody do their hair.
Now you know that's
And
true.
when
Yeah,
they-
especially a
when
black
they
woman.
come back, if they come back, then they
winning.
They didn't
You
found some
winning.
kind of trust for you.
Yes.
So you go from sitting in this chair and you listen to all of the stories that the young ladies have, and some of them are deep, and they're
Yeah.
about marriages, and they're about relationships, and they're about all of this good stuff. Is that how you develop the spicy wife?
that's exactly it. That's it. You
Come
see
on,
it.
come on.
So I developed the spicy wife exactly from that. So what spicy actually mean? The S is about your self-care, yourself,
Yeah.
right? Rather it is self-care, self-love, style. You got to know who that S is.
Right.
That P is about that personal development, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're not growing, I don't care who you are, whether you married, not married, your life not growing. Nothing
Right.
around you is growing.
This is true.
The I came in because it was about the intimacy
Mhm.
and learning how to see into me, you
Right.
see. So that's that intimacy. And then it was about communication and conversations. And then that why was learning how to yield and when to say yes. So the spicy wife actually had a whole meaning behind it on how it was born. So I would sit there and I would listen to the women and I say, you know what it is, girl? You just need a little spice. That's what it is. What you want me to do? Let me get you right. Let's put this spice in your life
There you
so
go.
you can start living.
Yeah.
And it became a living thing.
Y'all here now. Y'all
That's how
here.
it became a living thing. And so these women started being like, I want some spice. I want some spice. I was like, ooh, I got to give it to you, honey.
So now you give him the spice,
Mhm.
and then you came up with Miles and Marriage.
Yeah.
So tell us. I mean,
So how did they coincide together? So actually, the marriage with the Miles came first.
Okay.
That was the first thing. It was during the pandemic. And why this month is so significant to me, April, because a lot of things have broken out this month of blessings. 3 years ago, I was at the dark spot. All of those incomes were shut down. We were in the pandemic right now.
You're
3
right.
years ago,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And so everybody's trying to figure out is April, so on and so forth. And so that's when Marriage with the Miles was actually born.
Okay.
So I say to my husband, I'm like, I don't know, God is talking to me about Marriage with the Miles. Like we need to get on and talk to some people because people were depressed. You know, my husband DJs and he does music. So I was like, we need to do some feel goods. We've always been a couple that has been a fun couple.
Okay.
And so my girlfriend said to me, y'all should really lean into that. So we started DJing during the pandemic,
Okay.
you know, because everybody turn on Facebook, you have all these things going on. And so we started with that. However, my husband is a very private person. So he's like, I am not getting in front of no camera. Okay. Like men don't get out here and be talking about their business and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying to him, I'm like, but right now, it's not even about the bloody, bad stuff. People need to be encouraged because they're losing hope.
Yes.
What was happening was people were in houses with their spouse and their significant other, and they realized they didn't like each other.
Yes.
Wow.
And they realized that they listen, the kids at home, the husband at home, or the wife is at home. And for some people, they're in a smaller environment and you can't go outside. Because remember, they started defining who was essential and who wasn't.
Right.
So now you got all these relationships. And again, I'm hearing conversations, right? Because now people are reaching out to me. And as they're reaching out to me, what they had been having the mask on, it was time to take that mask off.
Right.
And they were trying to figure out, do I still love this person?
Right.
And a lot of people were breaking up. And so they started calling us and asking, how do y'all make this work? How do you, and we didn't know it was a thing.
Right.
Because we just being, you understand? We just leaning in being. And so at this point, now my husband didn't want to go down the marriage with the miles path. So, he would lean in a little bit, then he'd take his foot back out. He'd lean in. I'm like, listen, because at this point, I'm totally obedient to God because I ain't got no income. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And by then, if you don't have a relationship with God, you're going to find one. Let your money dry up. Your money get funny. Your change get strange. You be like, Lord, what you say? Go to the left, go to the right. And so from there, that's when he dropped in me. I said, well, what can I do? Because I still had a platform with clients. I still had women. Yeah. What can I do that's still in alignment? And he gave me Spicy Wife.
Okay.
And so it became a part of this thread.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Ivana Miles LLC became the speaker. The hair studio became the service. The Marriage with the Miles became how to be able to bring couples together and to be able to have fun, and really ignite it together. And then Spicy Wife came along to break it out and build it all together. So it was all God. It was never us.
So how many different cities? And I think you went to Atlanta. You know what? Let me say this. I thought it was kind of interesting and very cool that you had people from here follow you,
man,
to different places. Kyra Krista, she followed you, and Java, she followed you, and a few other people followed you to different locations where you were doing speeches. How cool is that?
That is so cool. Like, it still blows my mind. And it blows my mind because, number one, anytime I travel, and I've traveled a lot. I've traveled a lot. I just came back from Bali. I'm international, right? This is some international stuff. Like, this all new.
Now she rubbing it.
No, this is all right.
I went to Bali's, but I ain't never been to Bali. Yeah, I've been to Bali's.
Right. So I just had this conversation with God because I literally just came back from Bali, and then like maybe 5 days later, I'm on a plane, and my husband and I are now going to Cancun, Mexico, but I'm going to do a wedding. And so now I'm hired on as a stylist. I'm hired on as a makeup artist. I'm hired on. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so what I think is so cool is, if you don't have somebody open the door, you don't know the possibilities. But when the door is open for me, I've never been selfish. I'm one of those people that say, hey, girl, you want to go? Hey, you want to hang? Hey, you want to do this? This is what we're doing. And I feel that way. Even when you see me go live on social media and platforms, I believe that if the door hadn't been open for me, how would I have known it even existed? Right. And there's a lot of rooms that people keep us out of. And if we're the people that's called, because many are called, but few are chosen. And when you're that chosen one, I feel it is your responsibility to handle that mantle appropriately and open the door for others. Don't act funny because you made it. You know what I'm saying? Because listen, we was eating beans and cornbread and beatboxing on the curb together. And so now when the opportunity presents itself, how dare do I now say I won't share it with you? Right. Now, if I extend the olive branch, if you don't accept it, that's on you. Right. The only thing that I have a problem with is when you extend it and people think that they get the formula. Right. And now they want to move you out the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're gonna get that. Haters gonna be haters.
You see?
So and that's part of life. But explain to me how did it feel for your first person to take your advice and you see them succeed and they run with it?
Oh, it is like nothing else. Like, when you see that, number one, it lights a fire in you that you just don't want to quit. You just want to keep doing it and doing it, right? And the reason why it lights the fire, and you got to understand with education, sometimes you might be the planter, sometimes you might be the waterer, sometimes you might come along and this person was already ready, but they just needed that right person to speak life at that time, and they was on go, right? So you're not sure in that moment when you're given the same information how each one of the people will receive it and what's the results. But the moment you see the person that they were ready, they showed up, they did the work, and they started exceeding past what you even thought that they were going to. You see potential in people, but it's nothing like when they come back and say, Miss Ivana, look what I did. Look what I did. I'll be like, turn up.
Yeah.
You know,
you get excited
you get
about that.
super excited about it because now you're really seeing the impact and you're seeing lives change. And if you could change one life, then guess what? That person has the now the seed and have the ability to change how many others.
There you go. And listen, it is so important that we understand there's stages in our lives and challenges and struggles that we have to go through, but the fight is mandatory.
That
Leave us with some words of wisdom that you can share with the people and tell them, what they could do. I mean, how give us some information.
I would say, number one, keep showing up. Keep showing up. Never give up. Your story is written every time that you wake up. If you woke up, that means God is giving you another chance. There's times you will fall down, get back up again. There's times that you will get into arenas that feels like you could be in the room, but you're not sure what to do in the room. Keep showing up. You can feel like you could have a seat at the table, and you can sometimes feel that everybody is in a different place than you are, and you feel really small. Keep showing up. Don't ever give up on whatever it is that's that dream, that desire that's inside of you, because only you are the person that can produce it. We started off talking about Whitney Houston. There is not another voice like Whitney Houston because that was her lane. It's important to find your lane. Sometimes people are fighting each other because they think that's the only lane. Each one of us, what you all are doing right now, this is your lane. I thank you for sharing it with me.
God bless you.
And
We're
I
glad
thank
to
you
have
for
you.
this moment. But that's what I would say to people is to keep going.
Well, God bless you. And y'all heard it from her, Ivana Miles. Man, I am so excited that you're here. I know you've been on Channel 9 and WCUI, but this is the love movement. This is the love movement, and we not Channel 9 yet, but we working on it.
Keep showing up. Y'all doing it. You're
But
doing
as
it. Yes.
as we close tonight, as I always told my people, always treat people the way you want to be treated.
That part.
And never give up. Thank you for the sponsors. I thank you guys, Club 717, Angelilo, Law Firm, and the Blue Note.
Yes.
We signing off as the Love Movement. Thank you again, Ivana Miles.
Thank you.
Toya Capri.
Yes.
We're going to do it next week. We got E-Box. E-Box going to be working the physical fitness for us. Yeah. We're going to get Eric Bassett in here. And we're going to have a lot of fun. God bless you, everybody. Yes. Thank you and good night.
Just want to have fun, too. She know how to roll one. If I need her to come through. Turn up, we best friends. Fall till we follow, she want to. Female version of myself. Couldn't be with nobody else. Vibe is so amazing every time we touch. I just can't get enough. But I